Welcome everybody to the presentation today titled Discover the Meals on Wheels Difference. So my name is Sharon Lawrence and I'm a board member of New South Wales Meals on Wheels. I'm also an accredited practicing dietitian. So I've been working with New South Wales Health for over 26 years as an aged care dietitian. And throughout this time, I've been heavily involved in a lot of the aged care reforms that have been happening. So I've assisted in reviewing the Commonwealth Meal Guidelines. I represented Dietitians Australia at the Royal Commission into Aged Care Quality and Safety. And I also overseen the development of the National Meal Guidelines that Meals on Wheels follows. So enough about me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Meals on Wheels first, and then I'll talk more about nutrition. So Meals on Wheels has been a trusted brand in Australia for over 65 years. There are currently 145 services dotted across New South Wales throughout metropolitan, regional, rural and remote areas. At the heart of these 145 services, there are 14,000 volunteers who help out every day. And they deliver, listen to this, 4.5 million meals a year, which works out just over 12,000 meals a day. But Meals on Wheels is just not about a meal or leaving a box or an esky at the front door. It's more than a meal. It's about checking in on the wellness of clients when a nutritious meal is delivered. It's about enabling social connections and companionship when meals are provided at home or in a centre. It's about knowing that a smiling face will appear at your door to say, "Hi, how are you going today?" Meals on Wheels plays a very crucial role in supporting healthy ageing and independence of older Australians. Their goal is to help people maintain the highest possible quality of life by curbing the functional decline associated with poor nutrition and social isolation. So they do this by three things. Firstly, the provision of nutritious meals. Secondly, the wellness checks. And thirdly, through companionship. So the locally produced meals using local products that are prepared by your volunteers across New South Wales are prepared to very strict food safety guidelines and to the National Meal Guidelines, which I'll talk about a bit more later. The cost to produce and to deliver these meals to you is subsidised by the Commonwealth Government, which helps to make it more affordable for all older Australians. Whilst older Australians need to contribute a small monetary contribution to these meals provide the essential nutrition that you may have missed out on in the event that you're no longer able to shop, cook or prepare a meal, or if you're recovering from an illness or a medical condition. The meals from Meals on Wheels are available to people who are on a home care package, who receive support through the Commonwealth Home Support Scheme. They're also available if you're a part of the National Disability Insurance Scheme. But wait, if you're not a part of any of them, you can still go along to Meals on Wheels and pay for the meal at full cost if you just want to have a meal in the freezer or the fridge or delivered hot to you ready to go. The wellness checks provide peace of mind for families and others. Meals on Wheels volunteers have fortunately been the heroes on many occasions when somebody doesn't answer the front door when their meal is being delivered. The volunteers use their eyes and their ears during their visits to provide feedback to their service managers, such as, "Mrs. Smith told me she had a fall again last night," or "Mr. Arn has a lot of meals left in his fridge that I've noticed he hasn't been eating," or "Mr. Hunter might actually need some help cleaning up around the house." These wellness checks ensure that older people are safe and have the right services in place. More than often, Meals on Wheels is the very first service that an older person may use. Hence, these wellness checks provide vital information to initiate referrals to other health, emergency and aged care services. Finally, social isolation and loneliness is well known for contributing to poor health and nutrition. So would you rather have an esky or a box left at your front door, or to be greeted by a friendly Meals on Wheels volunteer? A friendly smile, a chat, a meal, and peace of mind that someone is going to come and knock on your door. Just to come by and say hello changes the lives of Australians. And it's not just the clients that value this contact. Connecting older Australians to their community is really important. So Meals on Wheels offers this connection by delivering the meal. It connects older people to volunteers and volunteers to the community. Okay, so as a dietitian, I've got an audience, I've got a stage, and I'm more than happy to talk lots about nutrition. So did you know that when you turn 65 of age, the nutrition guidelines and recommendations change? What was once relevant and important in your younger years may now not be so important when it comes to nutrition. We all tend to slow down as we age. Hence, we need fewer calories and kilojoules. However, our need for all of our nutrients, such as our vitamins and minerals, stays exactly the same, and there are some nutrients that we need more of, these being protein, calcium, and vitamin D. These nutrients make up the core components of your meal from Meals on Wheels. So how does this work? Your appetite is getting smaller as we age, you need to have less kilojoules, but you actually need to be eating more nutrients than compared to when you were younger. So the answer is small, frequent meals, jam-packed with nutrients so that every mouthful you eat counts. So how does this work? The tip here is to include protein-rich foods at every meal and snack, especially your dairy foods. So when you go home, I want you to think about what you're going to prepare for your meal and think about the protein food first, and then add in all the other foods with it. So your protein-rich foods are your animal products, such as your meat, chicken, fish, seafood, and also your dairy foods, such as milk, cheese, and yogurt. It also includes some plant-based foods, such as legumes, so your dried peas, your dried beans, your lentils, and also soybean-based products, such as tempeh and tofu. You can find small amounts of proteins in other foods, such as other vegetables, breads, and cereals, but nowhere near the amount as the foods that I've already mentioned. So how do you do this? How do you add protein at every meal and mealtime and snack? So for example, breakfast. It could be baked beans on toast. It could be poached eggs on toast or cheese on toast. It could be yogurt or milk with your cereal. So I'm picking the protein foods first and then adding it in. Lunch could be a cold meat and salad sandwich. So I've got the meat in there and the salad and the bread. Or it could be a soup that has legumes in it and vegetables, or meat and vegetables. So again, I'm pricking the protein. Your meal at night, think about your protein first. So it could be the meat, chicken, fish, or lentils or legumes, whatever it may be. Then add in your vegetables or salad, then add in your rice and pasta. Some snacks that are high in protein. It could be cheese and crackers. It could be a handful of nuts, a tub of yogurt, or a glass of milk. Or even, dare I say, have a milkshake. Geez, enjoy the food that you're eating. So why do we want to focus on protein, calcium, and vitamin D? Did you know that when we age, we lose muscle mass and our bones become weaker, which increases our risk of falling? So from the age of 30, we lose 1% of our muscle mass every year. So that means by the time you're 63, you've actually lost a third of your muscle mass. By the time you're 80, you've actually lost a half or 50% of your muscle mass. This is why you become at a higher risk of falling, and this is why nutrition and exercise becomes so important as we age. So this picture up behind me shows you a cross-section of the thigh of a 25-year-old and a 63-year-old. 25-year-old here on the left and the 63-year-old on the other side. You can see the difference. The dark section is the muscle. So you can clearly see that it's reduced by a third. This loss of muscle reduces your strength, which makes it harder for you to complete your daily tasks. And then we become more dependent on others. We then become frailer, we become weaker and more fatigued. So consuming protein-rich foods at every mealtime and snack, in conjunction with daily exercise, will help to maintain your muscle mass. The calcium-rich foods on top of this and vitamin D-rich foods also assist in strengthening your bones. So together, in the event that you have a fall, your bones remain strong and it helps and your muscle mass remains consistent. So I can hear you saying, okay, I've got to eat all this extra protein and extra dairy foods and, am I just going to gain weight? So did you know that people over the age of 65 years experience better health outcomes if they're carrying a little extra weight? That's a bit of good news, I think. So when a doctor or a health professional takes your weight and height, they forget that the healthy weight range for older adults or the general public are for those between 18 and 64. They forget it doesn't apply to those of us over the age of 65. What would be considered as overweight when you were younger now becomes your healthy weight range. Carrying a little extra weight is helpful because if you become unwell and you can't eat enough food to sustain yourself, then it becomes protective. It also allows for a little bit of extra padding just in case you have a fall, and the extra padding there is to help protect your joints. So dietitians approach healthy eating differently for those over the age of 65 compared to those under the age of 65. Dietitians will consider if you still need to follow special diets and restrictions, and dietitians would speak to your GP or specialist to see if we can relax a lot of those food restrictions because they may no longer be relevant. This is because as dietitians, we know how hard it is for you to consuming all the nutrition you need whilst you've got a low appetite with fewer calories, but yet you've still got to maintain a healthy weight. We also know that your risk of developing malnutrition increases when you start to restrict the type and amount of food that you eat. So what are some of the signs of malnutrition or poor nutrition? And I think it's important to know what they are because you may be caring for somebody, you may know somebody, or it may be for yourself. So some signs include loose-fitting clothes. It could be the watch band becomes looser, your rings become looser, even dentures become looser. They're all signs of unintentional weight loss. Tightening the belt of your pants or having to tighten your bra are also signs of unintentional weight loss. Prominent cheekbones, clavicle bones or sunken temples, and even bony hands and fingers are signs of muscle wasting. Obvious muscle wasting to the arms and to your legs. Having difficulty getting out of a chair, doing household tasks or standing for a long time without the support of a walker or bench or rail is telling me that your muscles are becoming weaker and frailer. Being less mobile, walking slowly and being unable to hurry is telling me you're fatigued. Feeling cold even when it's not cold. Being sick more frequently, but also noticing the cuts, the sores and the wounds are not healing as quickly as they need to. This is why nutrition is really important. It gives you the energy to do your exercises and your daily tasks and allow you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It helps to prevent falls and fractures. It helps to prevent illness and infections. It helps to heal cuts, sores and wounds. But most of all, it helps you to retain your independence and maximise your quality of life. This is why the National Meals on Wheels Association partnered with Dietitians Australia and the University of Wollongong back in 2016 to develop the National Meal Guidelines for service providers, caterers and health professionals who deliver home-based meals. These guidelines ensure that your meals that you receive from Meals on Wheels are prepared to meet your unique needs as an older Australian. These guidelines recommend the correct amount of protein, calcium and vitamin D for each meal component, whether it's a soup, an entree, a dessert, a main meal, or a sandwich. These guidelines also provide information and advice to the meal providers, such as Meals on Wheels, about healthy eating for older people, identifying and treating malnutrition, how to prepare culturally diverse meals, and special therapeutic diets that may still be required. It provides advice about how to plan menus so that we get all the nutrition we need, but how do we ensure that the meal still looks good from a presentation perspective and maintains good quality. It also provides advice to meal providers about how to engage a dietitian like myself, or a speech pathologist, or an occupational therapist that you may need to help you to prepare, shop and cook for meals. So Meals on Wheels is just more than a meal. It's more. Meals on Wheels supports healthy ageing. Meals on Wheels offers wellness checks, creating that peace of mind for yourself, for your families and others. Meals on Wheels partners with dietitians and other health professionals to provide chef-inspired, culturally appropriate, nutritious meals that comply with food safety guidelines and the National Meal Guidelines. Meals on Wheels promotes companionship by connecting people with people in their community. Each meal is delivered with love and supports the social and economical needs of your local community. Your local Meals on Wheels service knows you best because they are based in your local community and they know the needs of your community. Finally, there are no locked-in contracts. There are no waiting lists. They provide value for money and there is a money-back guarantee. So what more could you want?